Sorry about that. Someone came in my room. That's why I shut the camera off. My stepmother came in my room, right? I'll talk for like 10 minutes and I'm done, guys. 10 total minutes, I'm done. This is part 2. I bet you should write there, Unique Man. Yeah, I might write it. We'll see what happens. But it will not be as long as Zane's. Like, their Unique, I might only have it be maybe 11 chapters. I write maybe 30 pages, 35 pages per chapter on my notebook. So it'll be maybe a 340-page book. It won't be as long, but I mean, that's good enough for a romance story, right? Will Zane's be an easier book for you? Will Their Unique be an easier book for you to write than Zanus? Yes, because I can relate to the story more. It's in the modern times. It's in Elmer, Quebec. The story takes place in small town Elmer. It's very easy for me to it's very easy to write a modern story compared to a fantasy novel. Fantasy novel, everything is make believe, and your characters have to speak in the old English style speech in fantasy, right? I mix some modern words with old English style. But you guys read my book, yeah, Ivan. Like they speak old English style speech. Yeah, my book Zane's they speak old English style speech, mixed with modern speech too. Just like all these other fantasy novels, they mix modern words with old English style words too. Like Lord of the Rings, the movies they mix modern English with old English style speech too, obviously. Right? Yeah, as you guys saw the movies, right? Yeah, that's my point. Some Sarah. Yeah. Yeah, I love the start to their ending. Yeah, that's what I wrote down in class off the top of my head without brainstorming, by the way. I wrote that off the top of my head. You wrote it off the top of your head? Yeah, I did. Did you write with ease, Ivan? Yeah, I did. What I showed you there, Nick, I wrote that with ease too. I didn't struggle. I wrote that in class off the top of my head. I just randomly came up with the title. Okay, let me just write there, Nick, for the heck of it, a romance story, and I just wrote like 3 pages. And what I showed you, I wrote that off the top of my head. You wrote that off the top of your head with no brainstorming, with no help. No help, man. Ivan, like what we read for their unique was like just as good as Zane is. I know, it's just as entertaining, obviously. Except it's a different experience because one is like modern time, the other one is a fantasy world, right? Two different genres, but it's still entertaining shit, obviously. And yeah, I mean, even Don Avocado and Megan, they jumped out on the page in your their unique story too. Yeah, they do. They jump on the page. I love you, girl. What is it? You have another messy room hidden in there? And I was saying, yeah, you're an amazing storyteller. I was saying, yeah, amazing storyteller. Yeah. Well, I have that fear that their unique will be a letdown because Ace is so good. I can't top that, but it's a different genre, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't think their unique will be as good as Zane's, but it'll probably be almost as good, or it might be just as good. I don't know. I'm scared. Like, what am I writing is bad? I have doubts, self-esteem issues, obviously. I will know if it's good or not when I write my first chapter and I go over it and I read it. If it's not working, I'm just gonna quit. I'm not gonna write their unique. I wrote Zanus. But if it does work, and the story is amazing, which it most likely will be because I have to have the gift. I have all these ideas in my mind, and I keep writing, and the story ends up being amazing. Obviously, yeah. I'll make more money from you, BJ. Yeah. All right, Zanus and the unique. I'm gonna make a good like 40, I don't know, $40 billion for me and BJ, or even more. I'll make more money for me and BJ, obviously. And the gatekeepers are gonna want to control that brand too, obviously, because they know, yeah, that their unique store will also be a big IP. It will not be as big as Zane is, because the fantasy genre you have, the fantasy genre is what? It's a bigger brand because for fantasy you can sell way more merch, swords, clothing, and all that stuff. Whereas for romance you don't really have much merch to sell, right? So Zane's will be a bigger IP than Their Unique, but Their Unique will be a very popular IP too, more popular than even Twilight, man. Stephen Mayer's Twilight, right? And all you Twilight fans, you guys read Twilight. What was more entertaining when you read it? Was Twilight more entertaining or my beginning of Their Unique? Your beginning of Their Unique, I was more entertaining. Yeah, because I have my story feels more fresh. Those books, the characters jump a little bit, but it feels a bit more dry. You got what I'm saying? You see a difference, obviously, when you read my books and their books. They don't have the heavenly gift like me, don't they? So, yeah, they don't have the heavenly gift like me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, will you show us snippets of Their Unique? Yeah, I will. I'll show you snippets of it too. If I write it, I'll show you it. I'm not going to show you everything. I won't spoil the story for you, but I'll show you snippets of Their Unique too. Obviously, and chances are when you read that, you're going to be hooked too. As you guys were hooked when you read my beginning of Their Unique. Yeah, we were hooked. I was entertaining shit, I know. You're an amazing storyteller, I guess I am. Not an amazing writer, but an amazing storyteller. I'm very simple when I describe stuff. But my story is just so entertaining. Yeah, it's simple, but it's fucking entertaining, I know. Yes, and Ivan O'Mara is a walking money machine. I have the gifts and talents that my father gave me, right? Yeah. I don't know, you bluffing, man. What you show us for Zane, did you really write that? Yes, guys, I wrote that with no help. And what you show us for Their Unique, you wrote that off the top of your head. Yeah, I did. I wrote it when I was in college. I wrote it in class, man. While it was like a lunch break. Yeah, I remember. I wrote it towards the end of my shift, end of my class. The teacher was teaching, and I was just sitting down and no, I wrote it on break. On break, and I went in there. I was in the classroom. I had my computer. I just wrote down Their Unique. I wrote it. I want to write a romance story. I just wrote Their Unique for the fun. I wrote it for fun, man. Their Unique. What I showed you for Their Unique, I wrote that for fun, guys, as a hobby, right? Well, no, I did want to actually write the book, but I wrote it for fun. I wrote like 3 pages, and after that, I never like went back to it. I focused more on Zanus, obviously, because Zanus, I was already like 5 chapters into the book, 6 chapters into the book, obviously. So I focused more on Zanus instead of Their Unique, obviously. Yeah. But tomorrow I'm going to brainstorm all my chapters, all my 10, 11. Their Unique, I'll have it be 10 chapters. I'll brainstorm all 10 chapters tomorrow. After I make my video in the morning, I'll brainstorm. I'll dedicate a good hour and I'll brainstorm all my 10 chapters. The beginning of the story, the middle of the story, the end of the story. Then in my second video, I'll talk about, I'll read all my brainstorming ideas for each of my chapters to you guys. As I read to you the first chapter and a bit of the second chapter, obviously, of my brainstorming. I brainstorm all my characters. Yeah. Labor, yeah. Labor. You know what I'm saying? George Avocado. Yeah. But Their Unique is a smaller story. I only have like 15 like characters. And you have other characters, but they have like 1 or 2 lines, right? That's why I didn't include it in the brainstorming, obviously. Like the customers, like they have a few lines in there, but they're not really characters in your book, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I was interesting, yeah. That's why I want to buy a laptop. And I'm waiting for what? I'm waiting. Welfare. I did not get accepted for welfare. Like I had to go back to the office and I had to fix that. The lady said, no, Ivan, just write the note on the paper, give your record of employment, and you can fix this. And the lady should call you. That's what she told me when I went to the office. Because I need my welfare money, man. $200 every 2 weeks is not enough. I need my welfare money. Yeah. Center. It's my first paycheck. I'm gonna buy my laptop right away. I'm gonna get my laptop. A used one, obviously. The new ones are very expensive. I'll get a used one. Used ones, you can get good ones for $400, whereas the new ones are all like $800, $900. Are fucking expensive. The good ones, right? Yeah. Will you save Their Unique on your Hotmail? Yes, I will. Just in case the gatekeepers fuck up your laptop again, Ivan. Every time you write They're Unique, save it on your desktop, save it on your phone, and save it on. Keep saving it on your Hotmail, just in case they hack your laptop again, right? If they know I'm writing They're Unique, they're like, yeah, fuck, when Ivan's writing another book, they could what? Some crazy people. I don't think they will this time though, but I mean, yeah, I hope not, right? Almost there, guys. I'll talk for another maybe 5 minutes. This is only like a 37-minute video, whatever it is, right? My last video was like 7 minutes. So I can talk for. Ivan, what you brainstorm? That sounds interesting, Ivan. I know. They're Unique will also be an amazing story too if I write it, right? An amazing story, They're Unique. If I write it. Yeah. There's a high chance I won't write it, guys. I might just focus on Zane's. That's good enough. All right, it's more than money for me, VJ. I don't need to write They're Unique. They're Unique, I don't have to write it, right? I might write it. I am going to brainstorm it just in case I want to write the story, right? Yeah. For They're Unique, if you write it, will you sell ebook and print too? Yes. With They're Unique, I'll sell the ebook and the print too, obviously. But the ebook will be cheaper because it's not as long of a book. So because it's romance, I can sell it for maybe $16, the ebook. And the print, I can sell it for maybe $65. But it's a bit cheaper. Because it won't be as long of a book, right? Cheaper printing cost. Sell it for $65, the print. If I write it. If I write it, guys. Not guarantee I'm going to write it, right? Yeah. 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 Yeah, she was a half breed. Half Rican, half American. I'm now sick. You're an amazing writer, I know, yeah. Yeah. So what were you guys more impressed by? Were you more impressed by their Unique or Zanus? Both, they're both just as good, Ivan. Yeah, they're both. It's the same author writing it, so they're both of the same quality. They're just different genres, right? One is like modern day romance. The other one is like a fantasy world. Yeah, I didn't see any dip in quality with their Unique and Zanus. They're both just as entertaining. Yeah, but because they're two different genres, you get like a different experience in terms of the genre, right? The genre reading experience. One is like modern day. You know what I'm saying? The other one is a fantasy world. You guys get the picture there? Yeah. I want to write another fantasy novel. I can't. I can't. Zane's is so good. I can't come up with another fantasy novel because Zane's is so good. It's that good. If I were to write another fantasy novel, I would write another fantasy novel in the same universe, like a prequel. Like that's the only way I can. That's the only thing I can do. I can't write another fantasy novel, as I did try to write another fantasy novel, and I couldn't. I couldn't come up with an amazing story because I can't top what I did for Xanax. Xanax is so good, I can't top that, man. It's too good. If I want to write another fantasy novel, I have to write it in the same genre. The same universe. Because Xanax is that good. I can't top what I wrote for Xanax. That's why if I ever want to write another fantasy novel, it would be in the same universe. More books in the same universe, which I'm not going to do, by the way. Xanax, I believe you shouldn't touch it. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Which is what I'm going to do. I'm not touching Xanax. I wrote the 3 volumes. That's good enough for Xanax. I have the 3-book rule. I'm not touching Xanax. If I want to write another book, I write it in a different genre. Romance, gangster stories, like the mafia, that kind of stuff. Yeah, in a different universe. That's how it works, obviously, right? Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Once I go over volume 3, I might write a unique, guys. And if I do write a unique, I'll show you some snippets. And you guys are most likely going to be, hooked reading that too, because I'm a creative genius, obviously. Yeah, I mean, how the fuck do you do that? It's a gift, guys. It's a heavenly gift. Anyways, video, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm saying, peace. Hope you guys enjoy this show with my America. No names, and peace out.